I am recording. I'm not singing. Can't you see? I'm not singing. Okay. Let me at least look somewhat presentable for you. Is the video okay? Is it choppy at all? Yeah. Okay, here's one of the layouts I'm going to be doing tonight. And this is using the Yuki collection with a few other elements, and we'll go over that a little differently. Or a little later, not differently. First, I'm going to show you a few of the papers. And, oh yeah, my room is a disaster, but I'll show you a few of the papers, some of the stamp sets in the Yuki collection, and a few of the other supplies I'm going to be using tonight. So let me show you a few of the Yuki papers, which are totally adorable. Here's this one right here. It's got some cats on it. And this one is called Classy Felines. And on the other side it has a really adorable pink with yellow polka dots on it. You call it the Egyptian cats. So there's that one. And here's another one. It's called Flower Bed. And the other side has a checkered gigum design on the back. Here is Liquid Sunshine. Isn't that cute? And then this is the other side. It has like a little leaf pattern on it. Can't tell if you could see that or not. And here is Apple Seeds. And then this is the other side. I really like this side. This one's printed this way, but I like it better this way. Let's see what other ones I got. I don't think I showed you this one yet. This one is called Evening Blossom. And it has really pretty colors, and there's the little dots are all colored in. It's hard to see with the lighting. And then this is the other side. I really like this side. It's kind of got a graph design to it. And this one's really cute. Peter Cottontail. And then the other side's yellow with pink polka dots. Oh, no, no, no. And my favorite is this one right here, and I'm going to be using it twice tonight. It's called Lumber Grove, and it's a really fun wood grain. And then this is the other side with some really cute flowers on it. So those are the papers. Now, let me show you their stamp sets and also a frame set that I'll be using tonight. Here's one of their frame sets. Isn't this adorable? You could use them as they are, or you could pull out the centerpiece for to put a picture inside. And it has cute little button accents. And look at this little this ladybug. Isn't that adorable? And then here are a couple of the stamp sets. You have this one right here with all the little girls and the birds. And then you have this one right here. It's got the kitty on it. Aren't those cute? And I have one more. This has a bunch of the cats and the dogs from the paper line in it. These stamps are adorable. My daughter really loves this line, and this is a really good line for getting younger scrapbookers involved, or, you know, just us plain old people too. But I think this is a really fun line to introduce younger kids and young adults into. It's a really fun, cute line. Here are some of the chipboard. I'll show you these more in depth once we get into some of the pages. The dogs are adorable. Chipboard, chipboard. You get a lot of pieces in this too. And then here is the alphabets for this line. You have the pink on white, and you have the little kind of periwinkle purple color with the words. And then on the other side, you have green and yellow, and then an off-white with the teal writing. These are brighter in person. It's not as bright on the video, but these are really, really pretty. So that's just part of the Yuki collection. There is, hold on. He's going to have to wait. MJ's calling. He's going to have to wait till we're done. Okay. So that's part of the Yuki line. You can find more of it on Prima's website, on primamarketinginc.com. I just wanted to give you a little overview of the line and show you some of the adorable patterns in the paper. So let's go ahead and get started on our first layout. You probably saw one online of the dog, so we're going to go ahead and do that one first. And what I'm going to need to start with that one is I'm going to need one of our wood grain pieces. I'm also going to need, let's use this one. We're going to use the black. We're going to use this one right here, and we're going to use this one. And what I did to cut the shapes out for the puppy layout is I used my Cricut machine by Provercraft. The cartridge I used was Plantin Schoolbook, this one right here. Yes, it is being recorded, so you will be able to go back. I need a manicure bad. So you can go back and watch this. So let me go ahead and point the camera down so we can get to business. I have a lot on my desk tonight, so I apologize for the confined space. So let me get my Cricut machine going. It's warming up. Okay. I'm just looking at my reference real fast. Okay. So the first paper I'm going to use is this one with the yellow and the pink polka dots. I'm going to go ahead and place it on my mat. I'm not going to worry about cutting off my extra strip. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this, I'd say at 10 inches on shadow. So we're going to cut this with the kind of the blurb. Let me show you on the, I can't pull my machine all the way around. So we're going to be using this little button right here with the blurb, the quote bubble. We're going to be using this one on shadow to cut this piece out right here. Actually, no, this is non-shadow. This one right here is non-shadow at 10 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Let me see if I can move this around for you guys. Just a second. It shut off on me. Darn it. There we go. Come on. Oh, hold on, you guys. I don't do well with electronics. They never want to cooperate. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Can you see it? Here, let's move this over a little bit. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to hit the load button. I'm going to, let's move this over just a little bit more so we can kind of get some of it. I'm going to hit my little quote or my quote bubble button. I'm going to size it up to 10 inches. See if it yells at me. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut. Oh, okay. I got to see where I'm. It's not 10 inches. Let's do 8. No. Okay. Let's try 6. Okay, we're going to do 6 tonight, you guys. Let's pick up the speed just a little bit. The cut size on this is 6 inches. Oh, Sharon. Okay. We're going to stop that. Unload. Peel back my paper. You can see this, my size. Okay, so there's our first piece. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Evening Blossom to cut out my next shape, which will be the same shape at 6 inches, but on shadow. So let's load our paper. We're going to do the blurb again, but this time I'm going to go ahead and hit shadow, and then go ahead and cut. And what this will do is it'll create a backdrop, just a little bit of a frame for this one to sit on top of. Okay. Unload. Now, in the same piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a few circles. So I'm going to go ahead and load this back up. Hit circle. I'm going to shrink that down to probably about 2 inches, 2.5 inches. I'm going to move my blade over and go ahead and cut. I'm going to shrink it down to 1.5. Cut again. Oh. Shrink it down one more time to 1 inch. Cut again. And then unload. All right. Come on. All right, so we can put the Cricut machine away. That's all I need to cut for this one. Get it out of my space. And I'm going to use some of my chipboard pieces as well as some of Prima's Resist Canvas. This is the Hearts flower set. When you use the Resist on these, a heart design comes out on them. So we're going to be using those. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place my little blurb. Let's go ahead and grab my glue. Excuse me, reaching over. I know they're so just nice and smooth and no mess ups. Place my other piece on top. Yeah, the wood green again is called Lumber Grove. I'm just going to center this one piece on top. So we have this little framed out quote bubble. There. I'm just bringing up my photo real fast, you guys. Okay. So with the cat paper, I'm going to go ahead and cut out a mat to place on here. I'm just going to cut out a 4x6, and actually, let's do a 3x5. 3x5 mat. Actually, do 3.5. That way you have a little bit, if you want to put your picture on this mat, you have a little bit of a hangover. 3.5 by 5.5 will give you a little bit of hangover for a matte background. Now on this, I'm going to go ahead and take one of my Prima chalkings. Let's go ahead and use, I'm going to use red. It's a fun color. Ladybug is the color I'm going to use. Our nice chalkings. I'm just going to edge the mat. And this helps the mat stand out just a little bit. Go ahead and glue this down. I'm going to go ahead and grab a photo just for reference. I'm not going to put it down because I'm going to use this for another project. But let's go ahead and put a photo down just for reference wise. So I know where I want to put the rest of my pieces. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab some of our Reist canvas out, and we'll alter those real fast. This one. Let's see, that. And this and this. Okay. So we're going to alter these. I'm going to go ahead and use my pan pastels. Grab my applicator. And a couple of these little guys right here, I'm going to use for grass. So I'm going to go ahead and use this green this green in the center. The color on this is, oh no, Phthalo green, P-H-T-H-A-L-O. And all I'm going to do is rub my pastels across the canvas. these two, or these three right here, I'm going to use to trail up my picture. So I'm going to use, let's see, what colors? Let's go and use this really light periwinkle color, lavender. There's one. I'm going to use this darker magenta color. And I'm going to go ahead and use this really light teal. I know it's hard to see in the video. Yes, there's not as much dust with these as you would get with a regular pastel, say, stick or other chalk. They have very low mess. As you can see, they come in a cake form, so you get a lot of pastel in a cake form, a lot more in a cake form than you would a stick. They will last you a lot longer. They apply really easily. So let's put those aside for now. I'm going to go ahead and activate these with a little bit of water, hoping my, come on. What this does is it just takes a little bit of the dust away from them. And I can kind of buff off some of the extra off of the resist pattern. Okay. So I have my photo. I'm going to go ahead and place my pieces down. Ah, where'd my other circles go? My circles disappeared. I just had them. Okay, I'm going to put one right about here. Place one of these guys there. Let me angle you a little better, you guys. Here we go. Where on earth did my circles go? I'm sorry, you guys. It's like they just walk away sometimes. Seriously. Well, I'm going to just cut some out real fast so we have them to place on the page. Instead of pulling out my machine again. I think it's funny that I get commercials while I'm doing the show. Makes no sense. Okay, there's some of my circles. I'm going to cut out a couple of parts. You can cut these out with your machine as well, or you can hand cut these. I'm cutting the hearts out of this paper. It's the polka dot paper we cut our shape out of. So I'm just going to cut out a couple little hearts of that. There's one. Here's another. They're not perfect. but I am far from perfect. And let me cut one more out. I'm going to cut a heart out of the polka dot cat paper. Okay. So we have this and this. We have a little heart. I'm just placing them kind of where I want them staggered. Let's do right here. Let's cut this little guy smaller. Okay. Now in the chipboard pieces, I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of them. Ah! Let's put all these out. Alright. So I'm going to take the little kitty, show you a couple of the other ones. A little girl, you have a couple framed little girls. There's a whole bunch in this set. Really adorable pieces. You have a couple doggies. I'm going to pull a few of the hearts to use on this one as well. Let's see. Here's another heart. And this heart. Okay. Put those aside for now. The two pieces of canvas I cut into, or I used the green color on, I'm just going to cut in half so they look like little bushes next to the kitty. Aren't they cute? And then I'm going to place another one of our little guys right here. So now that I have everything somewhat placed where I'd like them, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing everything down. Let's add a couple more hearts. And then we can place our flowers. So I'm going to just glue as I go is what I usually do. That way I know that my little pieces aren't going to move around on me. So let's start from the bottom. I'm going to glue my little canvas down. Place my little kitty down. These are adhesive backed, which is very nice. Place him right here. I'm going to glue two of these flat, and then I'm going to pop two of them up with three-dimensional squares. So they kind of cover our kitty just a little. And then right here, leave a little spot for a flower. I'm going to pop one of our little flowers up as well. I have two different size foam squares, so depending on my project or the piece I want to pop up. Let's go ahead and put a couple little hearts by him. Let's see, we'll put one here. We'll pop our little flower up, or heart paper one up there. Let's do right here. Let's cut this one down a little. I like to mix different elements up on the page, so some of them are laying flat and some of them are set up three-dimensionally. That just kind of adds more depth to the page and eye appeal. Now these little guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some stitching in the center of them. I have some of this black cord. This is by Canvas Corp. I'm just going to pull just a little bit out just to add a center to these canvas pieces. Let me find my needle. Here we go. You want a medium-eyed needle. I'm going to go ahead and thread it. When you're threading a needle, you want to hold the thread or the yarn in your fingertip and thread the needle onto the yarn instead of the yarn into the needle, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay. So I have my cord, and I'm just going to run a couple little X-shaped stitches into it. Come on. Ooh, it's a little thick. There we go. Come on. My thread's too thick for the paper. Hold on, you guys. Or for the canvas. Here's some regular embroidery thread. We'll go ahead and use this. So I'm not fighting. All right, so let's go back to that. I'm just going to run it through. I'm not going to tie a knot because I'm not doing any major stitching. You can see I'm just going to make a little X. The thread is double layered. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut off the excess and do the next one. Stick it through. Leave a little tail to hold on to. The canvas has a paper backing, which is nice because it helps stabilize the canvas. All right. There's another one. And I have one more. We'll be using the wood grain, the wood grain paper as well on the next layout. If I ever get through this one. Okay. So we have our three little pieces of resist with our little sewn centers, and I think it also helps the black on the page or on your scrapbook page pop up a little more too. Now that we add the black centers, it kind of just draws your eye to those colors. A nice accent. So let's finish putting these down now. I'm going to pop this little guy up. Kind of over where my photo will be. Kind of tuck his little tail in. Add some pop-ups to a little heart. And actually, I'm going to double the layer on this one so it stands up a little bit higher. Place that little guy right there. My economy size bottle of fabric tack. Okay. Tuck this behind my photo. Just like that. Pop this canvas piece up. Add a few little hearts. Come on. Let's see. Just like that. So we have most of our elements down. And I'm going to add a couple little flowers. Quentin, out. No. I'm going to use some of the Lady Godiva flowers in pink and green. Just going to add a couple little guys onto the page. They're the these flowers are the perfect size to add to any of your pages. Add a little one. Let's do pink down there. And at the bottom, I'm going to add one of the felt flowers. This one's Hermosa and Rose. I'm going to add, let's do this little guy. I'm going to take the leaf off. I'm going to go ahead and cut the leaf off the back. I can save it and use it on another project, which is nice because you could use it with or without. Place him down by my little kitty.
Kitty.
Okay. And here's one page. I also added around the circles, I added with Ranger's enamel accents. I went ahead and I drew dots around my circles. This one I'm going to draw them on my circle. There's no shimmer, it's just a flat white enamel. I'm going to do it around on this one. Do a couple around the heart. And there you go. It's by Ranger, it's enamel accents in white. This is what the bottle looks like. Come on. It's a faux enamel dimensional paint. And here is one layout. And we have just enough time, I believe, to get the next one done. So see how easily the little white dots kind of just add just a little bit extra to the page. So there's one page, and now let's move on to the next one. We're going to go back again with the wood grain paper. As I said, it's one of my favorites. We're going to use one of the frames in our frame sets. I'm going to show you how to do those splatters, and what I'm going to show you what I'm going to use. I'm going to pop, see there's, you could take the center flower out, just very or center picture out. Very carefully just pull away the little girl out of the center, and you have a little frame that you can use a photo in. Thank you. We're going to put that down, and let's start on the background. First, what I did was I took some of our pan pastels. I used the same green I just used on the last page. I'm going to take an applicator, and I am just going to take some of my pastels, and I'm just going to spread it across my page. Starting at the center, I want most of my color in the center, and then pull it out towards the outside edges. If I have another awesome thing about the pastels is if you have color too heavy in one spot, you can always erase it. And I'll show you. See how easily you just erase? So if you make a mistake, you can always use an eraser to erase that away. And you can always go right back over it and recover it. So it is pretty foolproof. They're really fun to play with. You can add color to a project without it warping, which I have a lot of issues with when I use sprays sometimes. It's just a different alternative. So I have my background basically how I want it. I just want a burst of nice color. I'm going to go ahead and kind of softly erase some of this down here. I went a little too far. I can go back in with my soft applicator and kind of blend it in again. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my shimmers paints, and this is the shimmers, and they come in the little jars. It's a really nice, bright, kind of Kelly green. The color on this is Jilted Jade. These are a water-based paint. Trouble, mister. Put the lid back on, please. Quentin just went a little overzealous with my dry boardy pen and painted all over my door. I'm going to take a paintbrush. Put the lid back on. Go see Dad. I'm going to take my paintbrush, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take and splatter some of the paint onto the background. And the colors I chose complement each other. They're just a few shades off, but there's enough difference to where you can see the contrast. Okay. So I just wanted to add a little dimension with the paint, and you can heat set this so that, which I'm going to right now as soon as I put my lid on, you can heat set these so that the dimension stays on the background the way you have it. Now, one more art medium we're going to use for the background is called encaustic paints. And what encaustic paints are is they're a beeswax-based paint with resins in them. And the nice part about these is you can reactivate them and change them once you want to go back to a project. If you've worked on a project, you don't have time, you don't have to wait for it to dry. All it does is it cools off and basically dries to a solid form. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use this with my heat gun. I'm going to heat up my brick. You can use these with just a heat gun, and you could also use them in a hot plate, which is what they're usually used with. These are made by R&F, Encaustic Handmade Paints. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just heat this up. I'm going to hold my heat gun close to my brick. I don't want a lot of force behind it because I don't want it splattering across the page just yet. I may have to grab my other heat gun. Come on. It's taking some time. It's taking its sweet time. Come on. There we go. And all I'm doing is, this is opaque, so it will dry opaque. All I'm doing is adding some drips of paint. These ones I just want flat, straight down. And then I'm going to grab my other heat gun that has a little more force behind it and splatter it across the page. Okay, let me grab my other heat gun real quick. And within seconds, that will be cooled enough to where it is a solid and will be dry. Now I'm going to take with a little more force, and this makes a little bit of mess. You're going to heat it up. And you can see how the heat gun spreads it across my page. And I'm going from the center out so that it spreads outwards. You can get this through Dick Licks art supplies. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple larger pools. Let me talk to you for this part real fast. I'm going to make a couple larger pools, and what I'm going to do in those pools, let me find one of my stamps. Just a second. Okay, the little bugger disappeared. Hold on. Here it is. I'm going to take this little stamp. It's from the Yuki collection. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple pools of my wax, my encaustic paint. Somewhat thick because I want it three-dimensional, and before it dries and cools, I'm going to go ahead and place my stamp in the center of it, and it makes a three-dimensional element in the page. So there's one right here. Let me see if I can show you guys what that did. I'm going to make another one. Kind of kitty corner where my frame's going to be. I want to keep it close to the paper so that I'm not splattering the paint everywhere. Before it has time to cool, I'm going to place my stamp again. Yeah, actually it doesn't even stick to the stamp. You might get a little bit on there, but it does not stick to the stamp. It comes right off. See, there's barely any left on the stamp, and all I have to do is wipe it clean. And now what I could do is I can go back in with my shimmers. Let's go ahead and pick a teal color. And this color is aquamarine, and it shimmers as well. Make sure my shimmer paint from the bottom kind of stirs from up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint right into the crevice of where I made my stamped image. And the stamp makes kind of a little bit of a wall to hold in our paints until they dry so they don't run across the page. See that right there? Just kind of a fun little technique to try on your next scrapbook page. Now let's go ahead and build the rest of the page up. The next paper I'm going to use is the Peter Cottontail. I'm going to actually use the back. And I'm going to cut out a frame, just roughly, it doesn't have to be perfect, that matches our little photo frame. So I'm just going to, you can hold it down or you can go ahead and trace it. I'm just creating something to give it a little backdrop. If you wanted to get exact, you can use your die cut machine and cut out a shape to match. I kind of like the off shape because the page isn't really exact and precise, so I kind of like the hand cut idea. So we have that little piece right there. And what I did on the page is I cut a few strips out of our pattern papers or other Yuki papers and cut little ribbon ends out of them. So let's just cut out a few from my scrap papers. An easy way to make a perfect banner end is roughly fold it in half lengthwise, just the tip. See, just like that. And from the open end where your two ends meet, you're going to cut at an angle towards that end, just like this. And that will make your little tails even. So I'm going to do it the same way on the other end. Again, I'm going to start at my tip and cut up. Let's see. Let me grab a couple more papers to get some different designs. Okay. That's a good size right there. Now I'm going to place these behind here. Just going to glue these ones flat. Okay. Kind of just crisscrossing them so when the frame is over the top they kind of stick out a little bit. These are all being glued flat. Just like that. Just like this. I'm going to add just a little corner piece down here so I have a spot to journal or write a little layout title here. So let me cut a couple more pieces. I'm just going to use the same paper. And let's do this one. These are about an inch wide. This is more of a what you'd call a free form layout, so I didn't measure. It's kind of nice not to once in a while, just to kind of, this is a really fun project to use some of your scraps on. So we're going to place those there, and I'm going to, right here in the corner, I'm going to do another little squirt of our encaustic paint. Let's grab our paint and our heat gun. I'm kind of overlapping our papers right here. I want a big puddle. Kind of dab off the excess. And my stamp. Oh no, here it is. And place my little stamp right there. Kind of press down so you know that it goes into our paint. And then I'm going to let that sit there because the paint's still hot. And now I'm going to add my flowers and embellishments. Now on this page I use some of the North Country Rub-ons. You're thinking, well, that's kind of a wintry type paper line. But I like to mix and match some of my embellishments just to show that you can use different lines even though they're intended for one thing. You could always use them for something else. So I'm going to go ahead and rub on a few of these more flourish looking rub-ons. So I'm going to cut a couple of these out. That one. And let's do this one. I had a little elf in here just now helping. So let's place this one down. I'm going to tuck it kind of under here. I'm just putting these on with my fingernail. Now you might have an issue with the rub-on rubbing onto the wax because of the surface, but they will stick once you have it down. Yes, the rub-ons are they're flocked rub-ons, and they're the North Country collection. Now let's pull it up and see if they've come apart. Okay, just lift that off. Just like that. There you go, there's one. And let's add another one over here. Sorry, Sharon, I don't know spelling. Okay. And there we go. We have our paper. I'm not putting this down because I might put another photo underneath it later on. I'm going to take a couple more pieces of our chipboard. Oh, chipboard from the kit. Let's see. Almost done, girls. Here's one that's really cute that matches what our design is. Here's another. Let's find one more. And we'll put one down here too. Our stamps cooled down. Now you can see the very little wax, very little of the paint went onto my stamp. So it's easy to clean off. Let's go ahead and put our little flowers down. I'm going to pop this little guy up so he kind of hovers over the first one I put. I don't want to overlap my little painted stamp. I want to make it part of my design. I'm now going to add some of the Trixie in Bright. These are new from this release. Aren't those really cute? So I'm going to add one of those. And I know I owe you guys, one of you, a prize, the journal. It is going out tomorrow. I have not had time to make it to the post office, and I apologize. But it is going out in the mail tomorrow. I am going to be teaching at the expo in San Diego tomorrow as well. So while I'm out and about, it will get there. Okay. I'm going to add a little paint to my flower down here in the corner. Just like that. Look at how easy that was to add just an extra little something to your page. These paints are really fun. You can use them with a brush, a palette knife. R&F has a website, and they have a lot of ideas and techniques that you can learn to use these paints as well. Okay, and we're going to place our last little guy right there. I have some of the Say It in Crystals, the little singles, and I'm going to use the black ones just to add a little contrast. And then we are finished. I know we went a little bit over, but I hope you guys don't mind. Kind of just trailing these outwards from my photo. Got a couple down here. And there you go, girls. There is this layout. So we basically got 2 layouts done in about an hour actually, with all the introduction and stuff. So we get 2 layouts. You can sit on a Saturday and get 2 pages done within an hour and have a nice relaxing time this, I believe, Saturday for National Scrapbook Day. So I hope you guys have fun and are doing something. I'm going to be down at the San Diego Expo down at Del Mar Fairgrounds. Cheese. And I'll be down there tomorrow and Saturday with Prima. And I'll be having a couple classes. I hope to see some of you there. And I think that's about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to go ahead and hit record. Does anybody have any questions?